You felt it, haven't you? That sensation like you don't quite belong here. Like something about your life has always been heavier, deeper, more intense than anyone around you seems to understand. Maybe you've asked yourself, why me? Why this path? Why all this pain? Maybe you've watched others live lives that seem simple, light, free. Meanwhile, your journey has been like walking barefoot across burning coals, with no clear destination in sight. And yet you're still here, breathing, listening, searching. That alone means something. It means you were chosen. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. Not all chosen ones are chosen for the same reason. Some are born to break. Others are born to heal. And some are born to do both. But none of it is random. It's all part of a divine architecture so complex, so precise, that even your deepest suffering was stitched with purpose by hands far wiser than yours or mine. Let's start with this. Being a chosen one doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It means you have a contract, an energetic agreement your soul made before you ever took your first breath. And in that sacred agreement, your soul said, yes, I will carry this. I will remember what others forget. I will walk into the fire so others don't have to. But here's where it gets wild. Not all chosen ones are sent here to be the healers. Some are sent to be the sacred breakers, the ones who disrupt the patterns, the ones who trigger the collapse, the ones who, just by existing, make other people's illusions fall apart. These are the ones who are misunderstood, feared, even hated because they don't fit in. They challenge the system. They challenge the family. They challenge the entire energetic grid of this reality. And that is not a mistake. That is their gift.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
I need you to hear this in your bones. If your life has been chaos, if you were born into dysfunction, if everything seemed to fall apart the moment you arrived, maybe it's because you were born to break ancestral cycles. Maybe you weren't sent to heal the family, but to end the story, to burn it down so something new could rise from the ashes. That's not pretty work. It's brutal. It's lonely. It's thankless. And yet, it's holy. Because someone had to do it. Someone had to stop the trauma from being passed down. Someone had to be the interruption. And maybe that someone is you. But let's go deeper. There are chosen ones who are born to heal. These are the ones who have an almost supernatural ability to hold space, to speak truth, to bring peace into chaotic places. Their presence is medicine. Their words are balm. Without even trying, they activate healing in others. But here's what most people miss. Before a healer can heal others, they must first survive being broken. Why? Because empathy doesn't come from books, it comes from lived experience, from being shattered, from crawling through darkness so thick you thought you'd never see light again. That's why healers are often the ones who've suffered the most, because their suffering refines them. It teaches them how to hold others without judgment. It softens them, strengthens them, and ultimately awakens them. Now here's where it gets even more mystical. Some of us are born to break and heal, to both disrupt and mend, to tear down illusions and build bridges at the same time. These are the souls who carry the heaviest loads, the ones who were abused, abandoned, betrayed, and still somehow found a way to love, still somehow found a way to believe, still somehow found a way to serve. These beings are rare. They are the bridge between worlds. They carry both the sword and the salve. They are spiritual warriors and spiritual midwives. And if you're watching this, there's a good chance you are one of them. So let me ask you something that might unlock everything. Have you mistaken your breaking for failure, when it was actually the beginning of your becoming? Could it be that the reason you felt so torn, so unstable, so cracked open is because your soul is being reconstructed into something that can hold much more light? Because here's the paradox: to hold more light, you must become more empty. And that emptiness, it often feels like loss, like grief, like identity death. But it's not the end. It's the opening. The space being carved out so your true essence can finally expand. We have been taught to fear pain, to hide from it, to label it as wrong. But the truth is, pain is the chisel of the divine. Pain is how the universe sculpts us into who we truly are. And for chosen ones, pain is often the activation. The moment when the veil lifts. The moment when we start to remember. The moment when we stop trying to fit in and start trying to wake up. And once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. You can't unsee the truth. You can't unknow the sacred weight of your mission. So what do we do with this knowledge? How do we live as chosen ones, whether we've been called to break, to heal, or both? First, we stop comparing paths. Your pain is not lesser than someone else's peace. Your chaos is not inferior to someone else's calm. Every path is sacred. Every mission is vital. The breaker is just as holy as the healer. Because without the breaker, the old system stays intact. Without the disruptor, the lie lives on. We need both. We are both. At different times in our lives, we shift roles. Sometimes we're the storm. Other times, we're the shelter. And that's okay. Second, we honor the timing. Awakening is not a race. Some chosen ones wake up early, in childhood. Others awaken in their 30s, 40s, 60s. There's no right timeline. Your soul knows when it's time to remember. And when that time comes, everything accelerates. People leave. Illusions collapse. Your purpose ignites. So if your life feels like it's falling apart right now, ask yourself, what is falling away that was never truly aligned with my soul? What is breaking down so something new can break through? Third, we reclaim our power. To be chosen does not mean to be passive. It means to choose back, to say, yes, I am ready. I will carry this light. I will honor this path. I will live in truth, even when it costs me everything. And trust me, it will cost you. Comfort, the approval, familiarity. But what you gain? Freedom, purpose, alignment. A life that doesn't just look good on the outside, but feels right on the inside. Finally, we serve, not from ego, not from obligation, but from overflow, from the knowing that our pain was never just ours. It was a bridge, a guide, a map for someone else who would one day walk through the same fire. And when that person finds you, whether it's one soul or 1,000,000 souls, they'll feel your light. They'll feel your truth. And they'll remember their own. So now I ask you, chosen one, what if your life was never meant to make sense to the world because it was designed to awaken the world? What if your wounds were never meant to weaken you, but to weaponize your light? What if every moment you've doubted yourself was just the darkness trying to delay your destiny? You are not here by accident. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not too late, too early, or too far gone. You are right on time. And the universe has been waiting for you to remember. Let's take this deeper together, because if you've been called to this message, you're not someone who came here to play it small. You didn't incarnate to live a quiet life of surface-level comfort. You came for the real thing. You came to embody a frequency that could shift generations. You came to walk the line between worlds, between light and dark, between destruction and rebirth, between who you were and who you're becoming. And here's the truth you may have never heard before. Your soul is double-edged by design. It was forged with both flame and water, both shadow and light, both chaos and calm. Why? Because the most powerful beings are always the ones who can hold both extremes without breaking. And you, chosen one, are one of those beings. But let's get real. That kind of balance doesn't come from books or mantras or pretty quotes. It comes from experience. From falling face first into the abyss of your own pain and still choosing to rise. From being betrayed by the very people you were sent to love. From feeling like your light was a burden instead of a gift. From wondering if maybe, just maybe, you were too broken to fulfill your purpose. And yet, something inside you kept going. Something deeper than logic. Something ancient. A whisper that said, "You're not done yet." That whisper is your soul reminding you that darkness was never your enemy, it was your initiation. Let that land. The darkness you feared, avoided, or judged wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to activate you. It was the pressure that cracked open your spiritual DNA. The void you fell into wasn't the end, it was the womb. The place where illusions die and truth is born. But here's the thing most people don't understand. Light that has never confronted darkness is incomplete. It's fragile, it's naive. But light that has faced the dark and stayed lit, that's divine. That's unstoppable. That's what you are becoming. So many of us were taught to be afraid of our own shadow, to hide our rage, deny our grief, suppress our power. Why? Because the system fears awakened beings. It fears those who have made peace with their pain. Because when you're no longer afraid of your own darkness, you become uncontrollable. You can't be manipulated. You can't be gaslit. You can't be seduced by false promises or fake power. You are rooted in something much deeper: truth. And truth is the most dangerous thing in a world built on illusions. So if you felt like your life has been one long dance between light and shadow, that's not failure, that's training. That's your soul mastering contrast. Because contrast is how clarity is born. You had to know what it felt like to be lost, so you could guide others home. You had to know the weight of silence so you could become a voice for the voiceless. You had to feel powerless so you could remember where true power comes from, not from control, but from presence, from alignment, from remembering who you are beyond your pain. Let me ask you something that could change everything. What if the darkness didn't come to punish you, but to partner with you? What if your shadow is not your enemy, but your unclaimed power? What if every time you rejected your anger, your grief, your fear, you were rejecting the parts of yourself that were trying to protect you? Because here's the secret, your shadow isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to serve you. It holds the keys to your deepest wisdom. But it can only serve you once you're willing to sit with it, and to listen, to integrate, not to fix it, but to honor it. That's what the double-edged soul does. It doesn't run from the dark. It walks straight into it, with eyes wide open, and says, "I'm not afraid of you anymore. I'm ready to remember." And in that remembering, you reclaim parts of yourself that were exiled long ago. The parts that were too wild, too tender, too powerful for the world to handle. But the world needs them now. It needs you now whole, integrated, alive. Not the sanitized version of you. The real you. The you who can sit in the fire without flinching. The you who can hold space for another soul's breakdown because you've survived your own. The you who can channel healing not from a pedestal, but from the pit you once crawled out of. This is what it means to be chosen. Not to be saved, but to be shaped, to be tempered like steel in sacred fire, to be trusted with pain because your soul is strong enough to alchemize it into purpose. And that purpose? It's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's invisible. Sometimes it looks like crying alone on the bathroom floor, whispering prayers that no one will ever hear. But those moments are sacred. They are initiation rites, and every one of them is recorded in the vibration of your being. That's why people can feel you before you even speak. That's why strangers open up to you. That's why you walk into a room and shift the energy. Because your presence carries codes. Codes that were unlocked through suffering. And codes that are now ready to serve. But here's the challenge. When you are both breaker and healer, the world won't always know what to do with you. Some will be drawn to your light. Others will be triggered by your fire. Some will want your healing. Others will fear your truth. And you must learn to stand tall in both roles without shrinking, without apologizing, without needing to be understood. Because your power doesn't come from being palatable. It comes from being real. And realness is magnetic. Realness is revolutionary. Realness is what wakes people up. So now I ask you, what parts of your shadow have you been judging when they were actually trying to show you the way? What if your anger is sacred? What if your grief is intelligent? What if your chaos is a compass pointing you back to your true self? You cannot be the healer you're meant to be until you stop trying to amputate the parts of yourself that don't look spiritual. Because real spirituality isn't about being perfect. It's about being whole. And wholeness includes everything light, dark, and everything in between. This is the call to integration, to radical self-acceptance, to becoming the temple that can hold all of it. And when you do, when you stop rejecting parts of yourself and start embracing the full spectrum of your being, you become a force the world cannot ignore. You become a living initiation for everyone who crosses your path. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've lived the questions. And that is what makes you trustworthy. That is what makes you powerful. That is what makes you chosen. So if you felt torn, if you felt like your life has been a contradiction, if you felt both incredibly gifted and unbearably burdened, know this. It's because your soul chose a double mission: to break and to build, to destroy illusions and to deliver truth. To walk into the dark, not just to find the light, but to bring it with you. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not cursed. You are called. And the darkness didn't come to consume you. It came to complete you.